The following is a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. Hollywood Redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live. Let's talk about sex. Featuring in-depth discussions on dating, intimacy, and relationships. Black Hollywood Live. Hollywood Redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host of Black Hollywood Live, let's talk about sex.
Sounds kind of low.
Do I need to turn your thing up?
Let's talk about sex, baby.
Oh no, just my voice, I think.
About you and me.
Not my
Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about.
Are you ready, DB? To the left. Come on, man.
Warm up. Welcome back to another tantalizing episode of Let's Talk About Sex. I am your host, Spicy Madi, and joining me today is my phenomenal co-host, Phoenix White.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Woo!
And the funny Kevin John has decided to come and grace us with his presence.
I'm so privileged, honored, and blessed to be here with you guys. Love
But
you.
you know, on Let's Talk About Sex, we always have an interesting, amazing guest host to join in on the conversation. And today we have no other than the phenomenal actor, DB Woodside. Round of applause, round of applause. Now, you guys, trust me, you know, you recognize this Hollywood hunk, okay? You've seen him in everything from 24 as the president's brother to Blue and Temptations.
Yeah.
I mean, I know him from Single Ladies, but also Romeo Must Die. I mean, the list goes on. And he's educated brother, Yale School of Drama. He got his MFA.
Come
so,
on.
rounds of applause once
Come on.
again.
Yeah.
We got him in the building to grace us. And so he's going to join in on our sexy conversation. And you know, we always start off with Hollywood hotties doing the naughty.
Yes.
So this week's information comes from Euroweb. And there was a report that Euroweb posted for the Huffington Post did an interview with Billy Bob Thornton.
Okay.
And because his film Argo is nominated for Emmy. Sorry, Fargo. Did I say Argo?
That's like Argo.
Fargo.
That was Ben Affleck.
right. Okay, it's a blooper. But his film was nominated for an Emmy, and in the interview, he was saying how amazing it was to have been able to participate in a sex scene with Halle Berry. Until this day, it's one of the most Googled, YouTubed videos, their sex scene, and he was just saying how fortunate he was to be able to be in that. You've never seen it?
That's called a lie. I've watched it 100 times.
I was getting ready to ask you about that.
Really?
He did a sex scene with Halle Berry, and she took her top off. I know you're being facetious. Monsters Ball, yeah. I know you're being facetious, Kevin. You've never seen it?
I was lying.
Oh,
I've
okay.
seen it.
I was like, wait.
I'm one of those people that probably contributed to the Google record number of looking it up and whatnot.
I think every man has probably seen it.
Okay.
I've never downloaded it, but I've seen it.
But he was saying this is it was one of the most hottest, intense scenes, and he felt like it was really real. And had he known who Halle Berry was growing up, he would have made sure that he had sex with her a whole lot sooner in the film. But I love Billy Bob Thornton. I love how he plays like an asshole to perfection. I love, yes, he's conquered that. But then in the interview, he was also asked, why is it that he's had 4 marriages? Mm-hmm. And with Connie, his current partner, he hasn't married her. And, what's making this relationship successful? And he said that it's because that they're friends. That's a huge part of what's making the relationship successful. There's a lot of stuff that, they've had to work through, but that's mainly it. Mm-hmm. And so today's topic, we're talking about friends with benefits. And I want to know, what you guys think about friends with benefits. Does it work? Does it not? I mean, should women and men be friends? Can they be friends and it be strictly platonic?
But I think every relationship, you should be friends if you're going to be having sex with them.
Wait, but why does it have to be sex? I want to know, can you just be friends with a man and then not be sexual?
Yeah.
Exactly. You guys are friends with me, and y'all don't have sex with me. I'm just... Not to say that won't change in the future.
Well, this photo is 2 examples of 2 films that came out that were pretty popular, Friends with Benefits and No Strings Attached. And so those are 2 examples of films that kind of played off of this whole making friends, but then it becoming intimate.
See, Spicy, the thing is with this is whole opposite sex, can they be friends? And either not do anything sexually or do something sexually. If you're friends and you do something sexually, I do not believe that can happen. Reason being, is 99% of the time, emotions and feelings will develop on one of the sides, whether it's the man or the woman. Usually it's the woman, but in some cases it's the man.
Sure.
And once those feelings get developed, it is very difficult just to continue that platonic friendship while just having sex with them. And it's going to make it difficult. And if you've even seen both of these movies, that's one of the biggest issues that does come up. So I don't think that it can work just being friends and having sex with
DB,
somebody.
can you be friends with someone that you are attracted to and it be strictly platonic? Like, what if they're a good-looking person? What if they're very attractive?
Look, I think it's really difficult for men and women to be friends before sex. I think it's much more likely if you've had sex and that's run its course that you could probably be friends after that.
Huh.
But this whole idea, I mean, I would agree with him. I mean, and there's science to back that up, which is to say that women have this type of, from what I understand, a light kind of chemical film over their brain that helps them. No, I'm serious. It's just it's science, right?
Proven.
Exactly.
that men don't have. It's part of the reason why women are able to bond better than men. It's just science. So they've discovered that women have this. Also, extremely sensitive men have this, and or gay men. So I think it's much easier for men to have sex with women and not develop feelings than it is for women to do the same thing. It's part of the reason why you have so many psychologists saying that women need to be more careful than men about who they have sex with, because if there's someone that you don't like or you don't respect, by having sex with them repeatedly, you're going to bond to that person, whether you want to or not. It's just the way that our biology has
DNA
kind of put
works.
itself out.
Now, Phoenix, when I had said that about women are typically or statistically more likely to catch feelings and develop feelings, you seem like you were against that or countered that. I was just curious.
I mean, I think because maybe I'm just a little different. So sometimes I should not speak for all women and just speak for myself. But I mean, I've been in situations where I didn't catch feelings for somebody and I've just had sex with them and I like them as a person.
You know what?
I love them as a person.
He must
but I
have
would
not
never
put it on you.
No, I wouldn't be having sex with him if he wasn't putting it on me. I will not continue.
But how
Wow.
how likely is it to be able to actually have a real friendship with the opposite sex without there eventually crossing that line? Like, can you just be friends, strictly platonic, and not have any lustful nature if the person is attractive? Because you guys still haven't answered that part, without crossing that line.
Does it have to be lustful?
Maybe not. I mean,
Just because you develop something over time. Like I feel like if I'm in a relationship, or not relationship, a friendship, which is also a relationship, with anybody, that's a person that I would want to fall for eventually. So I don't know if it would be lustful, other than it's like, oh, I started to really like this person. I started to develop that type of feeling for them. But I've also been in situations where I don't want to.
well,
And I'm just cool with them.
Yeah.
And I won't have sex with them because it's discipline.
So you have, but you saying you won't have sex with them because of discipline means that you thought about it
I think most people think about having sex with everybody.
with every single person.
Well, not with
Most.
people.
Well,
Not with people with the same sex, but then again, you never
Sometimes
know.
that too.
Yeah, I'm just speaking for myself.
I think people that you find attractive.
Attractive.
But
Yeah.
I also think it depends. It depends on if you're in a relationship where you're happy and it's thriving. Then no, you're not thinking about
Yeah.
necessarily stepping out and being with someone else who's your friend. You might find them attractive, but I don't think that means that you're gonna
Cross the line with them.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you brought up something very important when you're talking about opposite sex people have a good, clean friendship with none of that stuff involved. I think the thing that you brought up, which makes it interesting, is if there's a serious physical attraction. Because I know most men, when they meet a woman, in their head, they've already have a preconceived idea of what that woman is
be
going to be
like
to them,
in bed.
how they look. In bed as well, of course, they think about all those things. But if there's an extremely attractive dime piece, and a man is not going to befriend them just to be like, oh, we could be platonic friends. Initially, he may be thinking something else. Now, if it turns into a friendship, great. But I think there's always, when there is a serious attraction there, that makes it difficult. But other than that, I think there's no problem. I have a lot of opposite sex friends, and I consider them my sisters. So I would not cross that line with them because we have such a great friendship,
Now, if these friendships are real and platonic and they're okay, now I'm going to pose this question to you. Why is it that when you get into a relationship with a partner, whether it be male or female, you now are communicating less with the opposite sex friends that you once had, but the other friends are okay if it's strictly platonic.
Ego, ego. I think especially us as Americans, we put a lot of ego into sex. I mean, you could just answer that question by, when you're involved with someone, they don't want you to be friends with someone of the opposite sex.
Yeah.
So that takes care of most of it right there. They feel insecure about it.
Yeah.
They don't like the idea of you hanging out with them. They don't like the idea of you even talking to them. So.
See, I don't mind.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I 100% agree with him. And I know this because I was in a relationship recently, and it's hard when you do have a lot of friends of the opposite sex, and then you get in a relationship because it's like, well, you don't want to cut out all your friends of the opposite sex, but then again, you have to realize
you have to be respectful.
You have to be respectful to them, and by me hanging out at one of my opposite sex friends at 12 midnight. Or talking on them at 12 midnight may not be respectful to the person I'm in a relationship with. So you do have to realize that you may have to alter or modify some of those friendships in order to suit your partner. Now, I do think it's a great thing if you can continue your friends or continue having opposite sex friends, because that shows a level of trust that you have with that person in that relationship, to where it's like, okay, sweetheart, you can go out with such and such. I trust you. I know that I think that's a beautiful thing as well. But I still do think you have to you have to alter some things when you do get in a relationship out of respect.
I agree. I agree that you have to respectfully adjust some things, but I don't want to be in a relationship with somebody where I have to get rid of all of my friends just to make them feel more secure.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't want to do that. Like I think in a lot of relationships that I've
That's
found,
control.
even people, but most people who get into relationships, they feel like they now own and control you. And they tell you what to do. They tell you, who can be your friends, who you can talk to, who you can be around, who you can hang out with. And it's all uncomfortable. So you start making these changes, not because you want to, but because they want you to. And it's based off of insecurity.
I'm not going to lie. When I get into a relationship, I'm like, oh yeah, you belong to me. Like, you're mine.
Yes,
but at the same time, there still has to be a level of respect, and you can't, because I've been in situations too where the friends have started to fall by the wayside when you get into a relationship, because you're caught up in the emotions and the fun and the excitement of this fresh thing, and then it doesn't work out, and your friends are like, oh, now you're back. So
but isn't there?
Everybody's experienced that. DB, I know you've at some point experienced that.
Isn't it life? Isn't it that the person that you're in a relationship with is supposed to be your best friend?
Ding, ding, ding.
Thereby, those other people that you're friends with are not. It's sorry to say it, but they're not as important anymore.
Yeah, they don't become the priority, and that's okay. Is that okay?
I don't know if it's okay. I know that that's usually what happens. And I find that it happens on both sides. I find that it happens with women. I find that it happens with men.
Your boys aren't there to play basketball no more.
Well, they're not as, they're just not as, the person that you're dating, they're just not as comfortable with you hanging out with friends of the opposite sex that they were before you guys got involved.
But you can hang out with your male friends.
Yeah.
Just not the females. You haven't had problems with that? Because I feel like it's both, though. I feel like the men and the women actually do both miss out when you get into a serious relationship. You start hanging out with your boys less and with your female friends less as well.
Well, of course, because there's a lot more time that you spend with that person.
Yeah.
Obviously, when that person's not there, all you got is time. So you spend it, split it between both of your friends. But yeah, when you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you don't have time to hang out with the girls all the time or get your nails done. Or
I mean, I'm guilty. I got a man and I see Phoenix less. I used to be with her every day.
But isn't that also just called maturity, though?
It is.
I mean,
when you grow
it's
up a
kind
little
of like
bit, you get into the relationship.
If you really want to hang out still with your boys, then don't get a girlfriend. I mean, it's just that simple.
There has to be a balance.
If that's
I think
your
there needs
focus,
to be a balance.
I see.
Yes, but
DB, I agree with you for the most part, but I still think, as far as not necessarily cutting ties, but just kind of eliminating your friends once you get in a relationship, I think that can kind of be detrimental to your relationship as well, because I think it's good to have that balance of friends on the outside and other people. Because if you just put everything into that one person and invest, and she becomes your best friend, your workout buddy, your club buddy, I mean everything, then I think that's kind of unhealthy, because you need those other components to balance.
But I'm not saying that you eliminate your friends. I'm just saying that the dynamic has to change. If I'm used to hanging out with my boys every single weekend, right? And that's what we do. And then all of a sudden I get a girlfriend and she works 5 days a week, and she's got Friday night and Saturday night off.
You're like, I'm
and I'm
taking
like, okay, well, I know you got off. And I know we haven't seen each other all week, but I'm gonna go keep hanging out with my boys. That
Yeah.
relationship's
That's
probably
different.
not gonna work.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
very
different.
true.
I mean,
Very true.
Like
I
I,
think that's-
see that perspective.
Yeah.
Like, but
Yeah.
I'm talking. I think what you're trying to say is just eliminating everybody in general. Like not making adjustments. Like, hey, you know, this is my time with my girl, whatever. But just not having any friends on the outside. That is what I would have a problem with. Of course, I'll be consumed. I want to be with my man.
Right.
I want to be up under him, but I still need a balance because then you lose sight of balance.
Now, some
Exactly.
people might say, how come when you get into a relationship, how come your friends can't now be my friends?
I think they should be.
You know, I mean, that's a real simple way to solve it. If you feel like you still have to kind of split something
Yeah,
up,
it has to be
then it
separate.
starts to make people start feeling like, okay, well, how come I can't hang out with you and your friends from time to time and get to know your friends? I mean,
I think that's definitely acceptable, and that's working. That's great, but only if it's a serious relationship or a marriage. Do you really blend and mend both of
Right.
your lives like that?
If it's a side chick or like a random booty call, you're not blending.
yeah, exactly. You're not unless you're blending in the bedroom, and that's
So
a whole
I'm
other
going to
conversation.
pose this question to you guys now. So you're saying I'm in a relationship. My priorities have changed. You're Phoenix. You know, you said there should be a balance. When you do get into the serious relationship, and you want to remain friends with a opposite sex friend that you had slept with, do you tell them, your new partner, that you slept with this friend? And if so, there's going to be repercussions.
It depends on who it is.
I think being open and communication is everything, because if you never told them that you slept with them and they find that out later during the
yeah,
relationship,
that's just
oh,
not
it's
I know
all
a lot of people
bad.
have
And that's
experienced
like, why
that.
didn't
It
you
is-
tell me this? How come you
Exactly.
didn't tell me?
Yeah.
And then you start to get in that whole thing of
Yep.
like, so what if I was going to be upset? It's honest.
So should
Exactly.
but should they
Boom.
stay friends
Yeah.
with them though? If they had been intimate with them in the past, should they still be permitted to be friends when you get into a new relationship?
I don't understand the being permitted to do anything. I think people should be allowed to do whatever they want to do. Like if
As
I'm in a
long as their
relationship,
significant other is okay with
aware,
it,
like,
and
I-
aware, yeah.
well, not even just that, but I would like to be with somebody who's secure and trusts me. So like I don't have time for all the drama, like that extra stuff. So like if I'm in a relationship with somebody, say my boyfriend is like, so I was like, okay, this is my best friend. This is one of my friends and I've had sex with him in the past, and it's like, okay, so what's the situation with that? You talk about it and you respectfully move forward, but you don't put yourself in a position where you're going to disrespect the person you're with.
Yeah.
You know, you be honest about everything, and I think if you're honest and that they're secure, they'll be able to handle it. If that is a very significant person in your life. Now, it's somebody that you just had sex with that's just around, that's different. If they're like your really close friend, I think
Yeah.
they should be permitted to stay.
Go ahead, DB.
Yeah, because he has
I
something
saw
to
you
say.
about to
Then
preach
I'll
on it.
jump
Go
in
ahead.
after him.
I think what I would say though is that the problem is that everybody has a different definition of what is respect and what is disrespect.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
So there might be someone like what you just said that you don't necessarily have a problem with someone if they were in a relationship with someone that they had sex with and that they continue to be friends with. But all of a sudden you do have a problem, or you don't feel as comfortable with someone who they just hooked up for sex, and then that's their friend. So you do draw the line somewhere. And so I think everybody has certain lines. I just think that you have to pair up with someone that, you know, maybe defines respect the same way that you do.
True. I
There
agree
you
with
go.
that.
Way to
So-
bring it together.
A lot of situations, there's people who stay friends with people after they have sex though. You know, so the friends with benefits comes into play and they go back into the friend zone. It doesn't work out. So either emotions got involved, they had to let them down easy, or they really had a relationship at one point, but now they're just truly friends. But what if you have several of those? What if you have several people that you used to sleep with at one point that have become friends? Should that be okay too?
What's the
Man.
definition of a friend for you?
Because well, for me, a friendship is a bond of trust, of love. It's somebody that I care about. It's somebody that does a service to my life, and we have a mutual respect for one another, and they make me happy. There's joy. I learn from them, and so with that though, I personally, I understand what you guys are saying, but I think there should be a line crossed at a point when you have slept with this person. There's a whole nother layer of respect that has to be there when you want to remain in a friendship with someone that you used to sleep with. And we're now in a relationship and you have them calling you just like you do the rest of the friends because they want advice or whatever. If you used to be intimate with someone, I think that there's a certain boundary that there should be because you're intimate with me now. We now are together. And when you do think of this person or when you are spending time with this person, you're also, there's an energy there. There's a sexual energy that may have been there or was there at one point. And you can't help but when you see someone to think about when you were once in bed with them. You might talk about it with your friends, like, oh yeah, girl, that was me back in the day, but we're just friends now.
I think we just learned something about you is what we just learned.
No, because I'm like, I don't
That's
know
what I think.
about that. Like, I agree with
I feel like there's a line that should be crossed.
I agree with some of what you say, but I have 2 best friends that I know that I've had sex with in the past that one might have been harder to get over than the other, but the other one I will never have sex with again. Like, but he's one of my best friends.
But one of them you will.
But one of them
you
you
only
would.
said one of them you
Yeah,
will
but
never.
that one I haven't got to the point where I've sliced it in that way where I'm like, there's no more of that.
So
but the
what if you
other
get
one,
into
I
a
will
new
never.
relationship and he has a problem with that person because he's like, dang, I kind of feel that energy.
But I would have to slice it at that point.
so you would slice it for them.
Not slice my friend. I would have to slice off that part of me, that romantic side of me. Like with the other friend that I have that I said I'm very close to, I will never have sex with him again. That is turned off. It's clicked off.
So basically, you could just
would
turn it
never-
off and on like a button, is what you're
Like
saying.
I started
That
off
sounds-
as friends with this person. So if I start off friends with someone and it just is, if I know in my head that in my heart, we cannot be together, we don't work, it is not good. But as friends, amazing. I can slice it off because I would never be with him again. And I can say that 100%.
So why haven't you
that's
sliced it
rare,
off now
though.
then?
With that person I have. I
No,
see
no,
him
the
all
other one.
time because I don't want to.
Okay, so then
And I'm not as disciplined when it comes to that person. I haven't had to make that choice.
Okay, so going back to my question, if you are in a relationship and that you said you would slice it off with that person, correct?
I have to slice off that romantic side of me with that person because I have to.
Okay.
I can't be in another
So
relationship with somebody
are-
and still be
you
wanting
are
to
a
have sex
special
with somebody
species
else.
though, that you're able to just turn off your
special.
feelings like this when
It's
you get
not
into a
my
relationship.
feelings. I'm able to slice off and come to the realization that this is not for me. This person is not healthy for me in this way.
See-
Being romantic with this person is not good in any way for me at all. It doesn't work and I don't want it.
See, Phoenix, the
Period.
problem therein lies is that if you get in a relationship, say for example, me and you get in a relationship, hypothetically speaking, not speaking into existence, but if it does happen, who knows? So, just saying, me and you were getting in a relationship, right?
Yeah.
And the guy number 2, the one that you didn't slice it off with, that it's still there. If the problem lies in is not just necessarily the people that you slept with that are still friends with you, but the problem is those people that you have slept with, you still may think about them in an intimate manner, or those things may come back, and I wouldn't feel comfortable with you if you're like, I'm just going to the
How
movies.
many people have you slept with in the past that you've seen when
See,
you
this
have a
is what-
girlfriend that you don't ever think about about having sex with them? You're not going to act on it. It's not that you're doing anything, but it just crossed your mind randomly. That would be a lie.
Depends on how good it was.
It would be a lie for you to sit and say that you never crosses your mind.
See,
Ever.
I'm going to
DB.
jump on her bandwagon with this and say this. This is part of the problem that I have. If you're someone, right, that has had a lot of sex with a lot of people, because that's just how you are, then what you're saying, when they enter into a relationship, they got to cut off all their friends because they had sex with them, versus someone who may have been pickier, who they decided to sleep with. So they do have some opposite sex friends that they haven't slept with. I think it starts to become really unbalanced, because then you start starting to judge the way that they live their life sexually. If there's someone who doesn't have a problem with the way they are sexually, and they've shared themselves with a lot of people, it starts to get tricky. It just starts to, so now that I'm in a relationship with you, I now have to cut off
Everybody.
7 of my friends.
And
Like,
that should not be that. You shouldn't cut off true friendships if they are true friendships.
That's what I was saying.
But I think what is a friendship? But at the same time, if they're just like, oh, I just like your company, I want to have you around because you're fun, and it's someone that they used to be intimate with. Because the example you just gave, I've been in that situation where I'm very selective, but I was with someone who'd been with every single person in the United States.
Wow.
And I couldn't go
That's a lot
anywhere
of people.
without them being like, oh, that's my friend. I'd be like, did you sleep with them? Yeah. damn, but they would still remain friends, and then they would hang out with them every day too, like all the women.
Every day?
Every day. Like they would
But
be
that's a
like
different kind of situation.
some type of event or some type of party where they would be there. I feel like there's a certain level of respect where you got to cut the strings
Did you date
off.
Tiger Woods? Who was this? God, man.
I think you have to be aware of who
gotta
you're
get the
dating,
strings.
and if that's not something that you can handle, you shouldn't be with that person.
And that's what I came to find out was it was more of what you said, DB, was the type of person that they wasn't right for me. Not necessarily I wasn't okay with the lifestyle, and I should have been more selective with knowing how that person was, as opposed to trying to control the friendships. Like, you can't be friends with that. You can't be friends with that.
But what if who they were wasn't, or who they wasn't who they are now?
Exactly.
Like, what if they've changed? What if that was just a phase they went through in their
Speak on
20s
it.
and 30s, and that's not who they are now? You're going to throw away an incredible relationship that you can have because of the fact that they got a little bit of mileage on them and they've explored quite a bit because you can't handle it. I think that's not fair.
See, that's
Just
what it
make sure
starts
you
to me.
take-
Starts to feel like ego. It
Yeah,
just starts
it just
to feel
turns into, like,
I don't want
exactly.
you to be friends with that person,
Yeah.
and that person, and that person because you had sex with them, and I'm afraid that if you go out with them, that you might have sex with them,
Again.
and they might
Yeah,
be better
yeah.
than me, and then
Yeah.
it's just ego.
I don't think
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think it's ego. I think it has to do more with respect and boundaries. If you watch porn every day, chances are you're gonna get a hard on. So it's like when you put the candy, in front of a child, you have to be able to trust that they're gonna do what you say, but at the same time, chances are they may reach for it. And I just think that there's a certain level. But to the point that you were saying, as far as the person could have changed, if that was the case in like my particular situation, that wasn't the case. They hadn't changed. It was the same person. But I would hate for somebody to miss out on a possible great relationship with someone if somebody still was that same person from their past.
So,
But what is wrong with living your life that way, though?
Yeah.
If you're single, see, that's what I don't
You're
get.
single.
What's wrong with having sex with a lot of people if you're not lying about it, you're honest about it, and you're single, and then you get into
And safe.
I'm about to say you
a
can get herpes.
relationship?
No, but and safe.
Right, but
What's
but
wrong with
that's a
having
whole other
sex with
issue.
a lot of people? That's your question.
Yeah, and then when you get into a relationship, you are committed to them, you are loyal to them, and you're only seeing them. I don't
So
understand.
basically, you're saying they shouldn't judge you from the past or what you didn't. They shouldn't
They shouldn't judge you from the past. They shouldn't judge you from your present. If 2 weeks before you met them and they changed
Has
your
nothing to do with
life, if the 4 or 5 people that you were with 2 weeks before you even met them
Yeah.
knew who they were. I
Yeah.
mean,
it
it
has
shouldn't
nothing
matter.
to do with that person.
It doesn't. I agree. It has nothing to do with it. I think we were talking about it more in the sense if they're still friends with that person that
Yeah.
they've been sleeping with steadily the last year before they had met you.
Right.
And then all of a sudden they want to keep that person along when you get into.
But it depends on the dynamic of that relationship. So for instance, for me, and I have some questions I wanted to ask you too. For me, it's like that person that is my son's godfather. I'm not going to eliminate him. And he's a very good friend, but I will never have sex with him.
Wait,
Never.
you had sex with him already?
We were in a relationship a long time ago, but
Okay.
he's just stayed on as my son's godfather. So I'm not eliminating that person out of my life just because of the fact that I've gotten a new boyfriend. They gonna have to meet up. We don't have to all be cool because you're gonna have to trust me that this is no longer there because I'm not getting rid of this person because they
Of
are
course.
important in my life
Yeah,
and my
that's
child's
fine.
life.
And that
he's not
poses-
going nowhere.
But
But listen,
question.
Phoenix, your man that you're with has to understand
my
that.
man does. He will know all about it when he
That's-
gets with me.
That's
it's
the next
never
topic.
going to be
what
a secret.
do you do
Yeah.
in order to make your new partner feel comfortable with the friendship? What is your responsibility?
Introduce them and you let them know what it is. Like I think if you bring somebody into if you have a new relationship and you are not secretive, you're not hiding things, you're not lying about things, they trust you. You like, hey, here's this person I just wanted to introduce you to such and such. Like very open and very honest. I don't think that that's a problem.
Yeah, no, I agree. You're completely transparent about everything. If they call, if they text, if there's anything going on, you let your significant other know. I think the problem is, and I've had this, and I'm sorry to say this, Phoenix, but women are more apt to do this than men do. But if you're in a relationship with a guy and he gets a text or a phone call from an ex-girlfriend or somebody, a lot of times women are very uncomfortable with that, because I had that
insecure about
situation
that.
in my last relationship, and I was like, look, it's just my friend. She's a huge part of my life, my best friend. But they did not understand that I tried to meet up, have group events where everyone met each other, and she'd be like, no, I could tell by the way she looks at you, Kevin, she still wants to be.
But I think that's
insecurity.
There was nothing I could do to make her feel comfortable.
I don't disagree with you, because I know
insecurity,
a
though.
lot of women like that. But
Yes.
that is a personal insecurity that they are pressing off on you. You know, they're projecting that whole thing onto you. Like, it's not you, it's them. They would do that same thing with anybody that they ever met.
Yeah, so
It's their own insecurity. So that's not a person you should be with.
So going back to Spicy, what Spicy's initial question, then, how can you make them feel comfortable?
How much is your responsibility to make them feel comfortable? At what line do you just say, forget it, there's nothing that I can do?
At some point, you just have to trust someone. I mean, the bottom line is,
True.
it's at some point,
True.
you gotta look, either you're gonna
so
trust me
much.
or you're not gonna trust me.
Yeah.
And if you're not gonna trust me, then let's just end this right now, and you can
Yeah.
go find a guy that's a monk. And you'll feel real good about
It's
that.
not a monk.
But that's easier said than done, because a lot of people enter into relationships hoping that there's going to be trust, and something happens. Maybe they cheated one time and now they're very insecure in the relationship and they decided to stay. I mean, there's a lot of layers to why people stay in relationships with people who they
True.
don't trust. And it's easier said than done when it comes time to walk away.
Yeah, no, and you, like you said, if they cheat. Now, if you give your significant other, your woman or your man, a reason to suspect you,
Yeah.
then that's your fault. You
Yeah.
can't blame them on their insecurities. If you did something, cheated on them, or did something then that's
gotta do the work.
justifiable for the
Absolutely.
person to feel that way about
Yeah.
you. But if you've handled everything as cordially, professionally, and with integrity, and you were open about everything, and they still can't get over the hump, then like DB said, it's
time to move on.
It's time to move on, which is easier said than done, I do admit, because I stayed in the situation. But yeah,
Exactly.
I get it. Like, I've stayed in situations where I didn't want to be with that person anymore, but because I love them, because they were genuinely a good person, which is also what I'm learning. Not being with people just because they're good people, they're just not good for you anymore. So it's like, yeah, this is a really good person, so it makes you stay.
Yeah.
And they really aren't doing anything wrong. But it's like, but they're just really not good for me.
Yeah.
And being okay with that.
Exactly.
You know, I think that's what keeps a lot of people around too. It's just like, I just ain't feeling nothing no more. It's just not it. It doesn't click. You know,
Yeah.
so I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, what was your question again? Like, what's your actual question though?
Oh, it wasn't a question.
Okay.
Just, being with people where it's like, or separating from people, if I find it harder because of the fact that those people are good people. They just don't want to be with them anymore. So it's hard to separate from people that are genuinely good.
Like
and haven't done anything
somebody who you're
wrong.
like, dang, it's a great person, but
Yeah, it's
I
hard
just
to
don't
break
want
up
them
with
for
that
me. I have a
person.
friend going through that right now.
Yeah.
She had a great guy, but he just wasn't great for her, and she had to
God for
release
her.
him.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
so to Phoenix's point, have you ever been in that situation where you were like, dang, you're a great person, but you're not great for me? I feel like a lot of men go through that when they don't want to be with the girl.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of women inherit that, where we were like, we
it
want
makes
to
you
settle
stick around
down.
longer.
Yeah,
It makes you
and
stay
they're not
way
ready.
longer.
Yeah.
They're not
I
bad
could probably
people.
say that I've been very, very lucky in with the women that I've actually chosen to date, that I've been lucky enough to date a lot of phenomenal women. But just because they're phenomenal doesn't necessarily mean that we're supposed to be together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's all. I think that's tricky because then you find someone and you meet someone that is really special and they're really incredible, but it's not going to go much further than what it is. I think that those situations are hard.
So that is kind of to your point earlier about women getting emotionally involved. So when you have a relationship, friends with benefits, or you start being intimate with someone, even if it's a one night stand hookup, and regardless if a female gets feelings and she doesn't get chosen, when a man has these options or he's dating multiple people and say he's sleeping with them, he doesn't owe them anything because there's not a commitment, or it can be vice versa with the woman and man. Someone catches feelings and wants to be in a relationship now. And so when you have friends with benefit situation, isn't it saying you're good enough to have sex with but not good enough to commit to?
I don't break it down that way because once again I think that's kind of injecting kind of ego into it. Sex and whether someone is good enough to be with or not good enough.
Well,
to
not
be
necessarily
with.
good for you, maybe. I mean, I'm just saying in the sense of, why do you choose to be with certain partners to sleep with, but not certain partners to commit into a relationship with? Why do we do
Because
that?
not everyone you sleep with is relationship material.
Yes.
And I think I can't be more blunt than that. I mean, guys, we know, and we would categorize certain females like, yeah, she's strictly just here to serve this purpose. She's not wifey material. And we have our reasons because of X, Y, and Z, but you know, the unfortunate thing is sometimes the woman doesn't always know that. And she may be thinking,
every woman thinks they're wifey material.
But then again, this always goes back to, this is just my belief. I know a lot of people are going to do it. But if you want to be intimate with somebody, wait till you get in the relationship with them. Like if you're a woman and you really like a guy and you want him to be in a relationship with you and, you know, establish that, then if you're going to give him all the benefits of a relationship before getting into it, what is going to inspire him or make him want to get in a relationship with you?
I don't really agree with that.
Yeah, I don't. I'm sorry.
Well,
bro.
forget both of y'all. Right? Oh, y'all.
Kevin, I'm with you.
Because I know people that have waited and they still didn't end up in a relationship with that person. And I know people who have had sex on the first day and they ended up married in the next 30 days.
Yes.
So I think, I just think it depends on the person.
Let me tell you as a man, I'm sorry.
No.
I'm going to let you.
Go ahead, DB.
As a man, if I sleep with someone on the first date, or any man sleeps with a woman on their first date, it could happen, but in the back of their head, this man is probably not thinking he's going to walk down the aisle with that woman several years later. We automatically categorize women depending on how quick they give it up. Not every man, but most men do. If a woman is going to give the booty up that quickly to you, that means she did it to the last person. The person
I want to hear DB's
I would
opinion.
put that differently.
I want to hear.
Okay, go ahead.
I think it's focusing way too much on sex and like what does sex mean and what doesn't it mean and
let's talk about
I think
sex.
that like you can I think that like
talk about it.
you can have sex with someone on the first date and like Phoenix said, wind up marrying that person 30 days
It can
later.
happen.
You know, I mean, I've seen it happen quite a bit. You know?
Actually, quite a bit.
I've seen a lot of people who have waited and they've dated and had sex and then broken up 6 months later. I actually think that's what happens mostly. I actually think that that's actually what happens is that
They wait to have the sex and then break up?
Yeah, that people like go out and they do the whole courting thing and the dating thing and then they wait whatever the certain amount of time that person feels is right, then they have sex and then they wind up breaking up anyway 6 to 9 months later.
Dang.
I think that's how most relationships actually go.
I disagree with that though, because when you have sex, ultimately you don't give, when you do it too fast, you don't give the other partner enough time to really get to know you and invest in you as a person. And so the chase is kind of over when it comes to the intimacy aspect.
Exactly.
And so them getting to know you, they have no reason to stick around and invest in your personality.
Exactly.
Then my next question,
Beautifully stated.
to both of you then is,
come on.
So is the whole idea of sex, is it supposed to be that we're supposed to wind up together?
No,
of course not.
Sex in my mind is
leading to a relationship.
To me, it's an expression of love. It's an expression of intimacy. It's an expression of
sex.
Love. So if you sleep with someone on
for procreation, that is really what sex is for. So when you asked earlier, what's wrong with a single person sleeping with everybody on the planet? You're not using sex for its actual purpose. You're using it for just you and your orgasms. But when you connect with someone like that, the original purpose of sex was to procreate, and you're not actually doing that. You're using it for your own selfish gain and not taking the other person into account if it is an act of love.
Well, listen, I don't want to like discount, you know, the hundreds of years of evolution. Originally sex was meant for us to procreate, but we're not living in that time anymore. Now we have found ways, say, to
have sex without.
And that's why we have a 51% divorce rate.
If like I was to go by what you just said, then there can be an argument that's made that women shouldn't take birth control. They shouldn't take birth control. They should roll the dice because sex is meant for procreation. So you shouldn't take birth control.
If women were only having sex with people that they were married with, they wouldn't necessarily need birth control. The reason majority of people who are on birth control take it is so that they can have sex without having kids. But it's also, but single people use it the most.
Going back to the initial thing, obviously in the day and age we're living in, sex is more for enjoyment.
Yes.
Correct.
Versus procreation
Right.
or having that
Really, it's for a
intimate
family.
love.
That's what it was supposed to be
yeah,
for.
But technically, if you want to go back, it is created for the inside the confines of marriage. But at any rate, in the times we're living today, that's what I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
Yes, I agree. Everyone's having sex for enjoyment. Hey, that's why we're talking about it. But at the end of the day, and this is just something I believe, going back to the initial question, it's very difficult for me to take a woman seriously or to try to wife them down or say, I want to give it all to you when you give it up on the first time. Like the chase is done, the pursuit is done, there's no more courting, there's no more
So then
dating.
let me ask you a
And
question.
why
Let me ask
is
you a
there no
question.
more courting? Why
If
is
a
there no
woman
more
said
anything?
to you on the first date that you were trying to push up on and said, do you know what? I feel like you're trying to have sex with me, so I don't want to date you any longer because that's not where my mindset is. I'm just trying to flip it the same way. So like you're saying that if a woman has sex with you on the first date, you're not thinking past that. Well, can a woman also judge you then if you're trying to have sex on the first date?
Absolutely. If I'm pushing up on a woman trying to sleep with her on the first date, that could be disrespectful to her. She has every right to say, I don't want to deal with this perverted a-hole. If that's what I'm
But
giving
does
off
that
to.
mean
then-
that so then now all of a sudden you have sex with everybody that you meet on the first date? Because now I'm judging you. Because you just said that if somebody has sex with you on the first date, you automatically assume that she has sex with everybody. She gives it up to everybody.
No. And
That's what you said.
That's why I said there's a percentage of people that do make that. Can someone?
She
Can
gives
I
it
have
up,
a one night?
She gives it up to people she doesn't really know. I mean, it's safe to say to make that assumption.
Yeah. Well,
If you're just your first date and you don't even know the person.
Exactly. It's kind of this is my thing, Phoenix. Yes, there's always exceptions. Okay, there's a possibility you can have a one night stand with somebody, and you could be the first. They could have lost their virginity on that one night stand. It's a possibility. I'm just saying. But if you, statistically speaking, if a person has a one night stand with you, there is an 80% chance that they had a one night stand with somebody else. How do I know those facts? Because I just made them up. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying, as Spicy would say, you can make a speculation or assumption if somebody's a certain way with you. If a guy comes to pick you up, right, and you get in his car, he starts rubbing on your thigh. And before you guys even get to wherever you're going to, just starts rubbing on your thigh, and it's like, just basically coming on to you aggressively. Is it safe for you to assume that he does that a lot with other people? Or are you gonna,
I'm going to give you I'm going to give you guys a real surprising statistic really quick. Right. Helen Fisher, she has a PhD, and she did a study at Rutgers University, and she wrote a book called Why Him, Why Her. Surprisingly, 50% of men actually want a relationship after a one-night stand. 52% of women actually want a relationship after a one-night stand. So, of course, it's a little bit more, but the numbers are very, very close.
Who did she
50%
survey?
Versus 52%.
Who did
and
people survey?
1/3 actually do wind up in a relationship after a one-night stand. So that's very surprising based off of what we're saying.
It doesn't surprise
but
me.
I am surprised because I still think you shouldn't give it up on the first date.
Why? Okay, so this is what I would like to know.
Question, why?
Why
Yes,
do you
why?
think that you shouldn't give it up on the
Yeah,
first date?
why?
Because you've been taught that way, that it was wrong and it's bad to be sexual and to express yourself
To
that way.
enjoy
I
yourself.
think that people were trained and
Yeah.
taught that that is wrong. So that's why you
Ding,
believe
ding,
that
ding,
it's
ding,
wrong.
ding.
I
I
think
agree
if you're
with
a
her.
person-
I
and
And
completely
because of
agree with her.
religious perspective,
No, it has nothing to do
people
with
are always
religion.
going to say that.
Her
If you're
again.
a person that's looking just for an orgasm and that's
But that is
all
not
that
the
you
reason.
want, have sex.
No.
If you're a person who's
No.
looking for a relationship and you want the person to
I
actually
agree.
get to know you,
Is there
Yes.
anything in the
hold
middle
out.
of that?
Yes.
Hold
Is there
out.
anything in the
I
middle
don't think
of
you need to
that?
hold out.
Is
I
there
think that
anything
you need to
between
organically
Yes,
flow
oral sex.
with
just
that
having an
person.
orgasm
Do I feel,
and having a relationship?
Yeah.
Is there anything or
There can't
that's
be
just
any
it?
other way. Do
That's
you
it.
feel
It's
that?
this or that?
Do you feel
get with this,
There's,
or you
so
can't get
there's
with that.
So it's wrong if you have an organic chemistry with.
But you don't
Okay,
have
let me
sex
finish.
with every
Let me
single
finish.
person you have chemistry with.
Let me finish.
You don't
I'm
have
not
chemistry with
saying-
every single person that you
Exactly.
have sex
No,
with.
but you don't have sex with every
This
single
is what
one.
I'm
That'd be
saying.
A lot of people.
Phoenix.
Can I finish what I'm saying really fast? What I'm trying to say
Let me
is,
go.
so what you're trying to tell me is that if you have an organic relationship with somebody, or if you meet somebody and it's just like
First night.
instant,
Organic or
First-
orgasmic?
organic.
Okay.
I'm not a person that just runs around. I love having sex, but I'm not a person that runs around just looking to have sex. I could do that all day long if I really wanted to. If I wanted to find somebody to have sex with, it's easy.
And then you
We're
can come
women.
talk about it too.
But I'm saying that's easy, but that's obviously not what I want. But if I meet somebody that I have in the past met someone that I had incredible chemistry with, that I still know to this day, that I've had sex with probably on the first or second day. And it was magical, and there's nothing that could take that away. And I still know that person. I'm still friends with that person. I don't think that anything's wrong with that. Now, spreading yourself around to every single person, no, that's not good. That's not what we're saying here. We're talking about having sex on the first date, and that you shouldn't give it up on the first date. You should hold out.
I agree with what she said.
But you can't. So now,
your boyfriend, though.
But when you're holding out,
become your boyfriend.
That wasn't the purpose.
Phoenix,
So we're talking about one-time
exactly.
sex.
Phoenix,
Yeah,
you're missing
but
the
you-
point.
I thought we were talking
I'm not
about
saying-
friends with benefits.
Yeah,
This person's a relationship.
but this is what I'm trying to say. Everybody has their own way that they do things. You guys are basically saying right now that the only way that you should do it, if you want to be in a relationship, is that you should hold out. You should not have sex on the first
Phoenix,
date, right?
I'm not
That's what you
necessarily-
said, and that's what you said.
Phoenix, I'm not necessarily condemning those who have sex on the first date. If that's what you want to do,
But
that's
you
fine.
are. Let me tell you why
No,
you are. Because
no.
all of a sudden you are assuming that that person has sex with everybody because they gave it up to you on
The
the first
main
date.
thing-
When really they just could have loved you so much and just really wanted to be with you and organically felt that chemistry and felt like they could trust you that day and not do that with
That sounds
everybody
like
else.
something
But
that
you
came out of
judge it.
Superhead's book. But at any rate,
No,
at any
that's
rate,
something that has happened to me before.
And Phoenix-
it's something that I felt, and that's what I wanted,
Phoenix.
and that's how it was. And we're still cool to this day. It's nothing has changed.
And Phoenix, I respect that. I totally respect that because you are a phenomenal woman. And I will
Stupid.
give that to you. You are a phenomenal woman. But I'm just saying, back to my initial point, if, yes, have I had one night stands before in the past? Hell yeah, I've had a lot.
Yeah, but you throw them away because of the fact that you
I
now
never
think
threw-
that
one of them I'm actually really good friends
But
with.
I'm saying, but that's what you said earlier.
But no. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying as a woman,
Yeah.
this goes back to if you want a man to take you serious or if you want to be in a
Mm-hmm.
relationship with him, I'm saying that could work in some instances, but I'm
Yes.
saying the majority of the time, the majority of the men are not going to categorize you right when they sleep with you as that's my wife right there. I'm not going to sleep with someone one night stand and to be, oh, I'm marrying that woman. She's
I'm not gonna disagree with you, but I also know a whole bunch of people that waited and got married and they are now divorced or getting divorced. Every single person I know that is married at this exact moment is getting a divorce or is divorced.
But is
every
it, but
single
are they getting
solitary
divorced
one.
because they waited?
No.
Exactly.
I don't know if
Exactly.
But they all held out. They all waited. They all got married.
Till they got married or until a relationship?
Until they got married. They
And
waited.
Why did they wait though?
Regardless of
I
whether
would
you wait or
just
not,
say
you still could have the
that-
same percentage of divorce.
that
It's the
if
same.
You're not
there's a
divorcing
woman
because of the sex.
that
That's
feels,
true.
if
But
there's
you-
a woman
but
that
that-
feels empowered and she enjoys sex just like a man enjoys sex, so she makes a decision to have sex with someone
That's fine.
on the first date, and then that man then judges her, then that's actually an unevolved man, and she doesn't need to be with him.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that guy in his past has had one night stands. So I'm sure
I
that
agree with
he
that.
wouldn't necessarily appreciate someone judging him for his past the same way that woman is not going to appreciate that guy judging her for her
DB
past.
Phoenix, question for both of you guys. If you guys both have daughters, would you encourage your daughter, hey, if you want to sleep with them on the first date, go ahead and do it, baby. That's the right thing to do. Would you tell that to your daughters?
He has a daughter.
I actually have a daughter.
Would you tell her that?
I would tell my daughter
Oh, yeah.
No,
See?
no,
He
no,
said
no,
he
no,
told
no,
us
no.
something
You didn't-
different.
You didn't let me
Go ahead.
finish.
I'm sorry.
What I would tell my daughter is, because I'm raising her the right way, is that you need to be able to look inside someone and know what they're about. I'm not going to raise my daughter to say, don't have sex with someone on the first date, because then you'll never know what kind of a person that they really are, like
Yeah.
what they see you for. I'm going to raise her to like really look at the person, look at the situation, and judge accordingly, and have trust in her, and have trust in the fact that I've raised her a certain way,
Yeah.
starting at this age, she's 4 years old, that she's gonna have a kind of awareness of men in general. That's how I'm raising my daughter.
So with that being said, if she found that in men that she met within a couple of hours, you'd be okay with her having one night stands?
I would be okay with my daughter making whatever decision she felt was best for her.
Okay.
No matter what, like how I felt about it. I need to trust the fact that I've raised her the best
Yeah.
way that I know how, and that she's
But
a
doesn't
woman
it
just to
and
go
can
back
make her
to
own
get to know
decisions.
somebody though, to build that trust? You're saying you want her to make, an educated decision based and build trust, or, use her intelligence in the situation. But that takes time to really know a person's heart though. She's going to be looking into his soul.
Right, but I'm not going to say to this is what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to have my son and my daughter and raise them differently. I'm not going to tell my son
That it's
saying
okay.
that
Yeah.
Of
go
course,
out and
yeah.
do it. I'm
Yeah.
not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So for me, my daughter, should be able to enjoy sex in the same way that my son should be able to enjoy sex. There should not be this.
I agree.
This,
Double standard.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's a
Double
double standard.
standard.
It's definitely a double standard.
I would like to know how much time is it supposed to take, or how many people have been in a relationship that they took their time.
Steve Harvey said 90 days in his book.
Hold on.
Act like a
Hold on.
like a man.
How many?
that
This
to
is
me
my
is.
question. This is
I've
my
always thought that was
question.
crazy.
I know, it is.
Because if you got the right guy, he'll just
How
wait
many-
90 days and do what he's going to do with other
Exactly.
women during the 90 days.
I
mean, it
agree
doesn't-
with you.
How many
I was
times,
joking. Though.
How many times have you been in a relationship where you thought you really knew a person and realized you didn't know nothing at all about them?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
So why is it that everything takes time? Because I've been in relationships where I've learned more about a person in a week than because it was consistent conversation, it was consistent communication, than I have with somebody where I was just kind of I was with them, but we're just kind of operating on autopilot and not having as much conversation. I think time is not necessarily a factor. I think it's each individual person, how you communicate.
But Phoenix, another thing that I just want to go back to is the
Mm-hmm.
sanitariness of it. You always hear a lot of times. No. I'm just saying. A lot of
Kevin,
times
I
they
love
say
you.
before you get in a relationship with somebody, it's good for you and your partner to get checked.
I do
Now,
that.
if you're just running around having one night stands with people,
But see,
you're getting God knows what from whoever.
But you're talking about a totally different dynamic. You're talking about a person who's just frivolous and is just running around having
I'm
sex
not talking
with everybody.
about promiscuity.
Listen,
Go ahead.
It sounds that way,
It
though.
does.
It
It
sounds
sounds the
like
same way.
someone who just goes
Somebody
around
who's just
having
running around
sex.
having sex
But you
with
said there's
everybody.
nothing wrong with
That's what
that.
you. Yeah, but
No,
you guys
that's
were like,
not-
that's
that's not-
fine. If I have the chemistry
No.
with them on the first night,
but you're
then
saying a bunch of random people. I'm not saying you run around and you just be frivolous and you just give your spirit and your soul and your body to every single person that you know that you just want to have sex
Yes.
with. That is not what I'm saying. I'm talking about people who you have a chemistry with, people that you like and you want to have sex with them. That's fine, but that's not going to be 50,000 people if you're a
you're
real
still running the
grown-up.
risk if that's
So,
one person.
You're running the
You're
risk
still-
with
You're running the
any
risk
one
every
person.
single time
You can have sex with a person.
Every
You can-
single
Yeah,
time you have
Phoenix,
sex.
one
You're right.
person
You're
you
right.
can catch
You're-
something. It don't matter.
Episodes ago, Phoenix made a point, and you said that when you have sex with someone, you give a piece of your soul.
You give a little piece of yourself to them.
So if you are running around or being particular about who you have your connections with, and you're having sex with these people whenever you feel like it, you're giving a piece of your soul there.
Yeah.
Every single time.
So
That's
you got
a
to be
lot of
okay with that.
pieces.
So
How much
basically,
soul do
you
have
have
left.
So you tried it. You tried it. But what I'm trying to say, if you guys really listen to what I'm saying, I'm not saying to run around and have sex with every single person that you meet.
Right.
I'm saying if you have chemistry with somebody, it's very, very rare that I have an organic, spiritual, emotional, and physical connection to somebody.
Yeah.
All at the same time. It is very rare. There's very few in between.
But why does chemistry have to be a requirement? If you're attracted,
Chemistry for me
but if
is
you're
a-
attracted, not you in particular. I'm just saying
Chemistry-
in general. If we're telling people have as much sex as you want,
But
you're
that's
not
not
married.
what we're saying.
You're
I'm
single.
saying do what you feel is best for you. That's all that
Because
you
majority
can
of people
say.
just have sex with people because they're attracted to them. It really doesn't even have to do with the chemistry.
Well, for me,
Isn't that chemistry, though?
no.
I mean,
Physical attraction
I don't think-
is something separate from the emotional chemistry that you feel. Like because I can look at you and find you attractive, that doesn't necessarily mean that I want you inside of me.
but isn't there physical
So-
chemistry, emotional chemistry, spiritual chemistry? It's all chemistry.
But majority of people do it based off of physical attraction.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about. I said a long time ago, somebody that you have an organic, emotional,
You gotta be
physical,
physically attracted to them,
spiritually-
though.
Yeah, I just don't want to have sex with somebody just because they're physically attractive.
But a lot of
it's
people
much
do.
more, but that's their business. If they want to do that, then
yeah.
cool, do whatever you
See,
want to do,
I
and that
just have
shouldn't
a
be wrong
problem
for
with
other
like
people.
this kind of like that. There's supposed to be like this kind of
Rules.
one set. Like
Yeah.
this
There's no
way of,
set
like,
date.
how
There's
you're
no
supposed
amount
to.
of
I agree.
time.
And there's something just really wrong about that. And there's something that feels extremely sexist about it also. 'Cause
Oh,
we do
absolutely.
A lot of
Yeah.
talking about women, but we have barely talked about, what men should and should not do.
Very true.
And there's something really wrong about that.
Well, this all goes kind of back to what we were initially talking about, as far as how the rules to doing it, how long you should wait, what's the proper way to court someone before you do this. I think at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you. It's all subjective. What works for
Exactly.
Phoenix may not work for Spicy. What works for DB may not
Absolutely.
work for Kevin.
Right.
So I think at the end of the day, whatever you find that you have peace with you and your partner, or whatever you're doing, has to work for you. Whether it's religious, whether it's spiritual, whether it's whatever. At the end of the day, do what feels good for you. And I respect everybody's opinion on this. I respect where everybody is coming from, everyone's radical ideas, because obviously that's where we live in. So I think it's unfair to make a to set a standard or to set a playbook or a rule book to how things should be done.
And Kevin, although I may agree with your point about holding out in order to learn the person, it's wrong for you to judge that person for giving it up. Though at the end of the day, it's absolutely wrong for you to judge anybody based on the amount of time that you have sex with them and not give them a chance. So I do agree with them on that.
Yeah, you're right.
So I don't think that that's fair, but I understand that that's not something that can be prevented until people start changing their whole conscience. That's going to take time.
Exactly.
Because it takes two people.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're going to judge that person for dropping their pants, but you're not going to judge yourself.
Right.
That's where the double standard comes.
And that's what he's talking about.
Double standard comes.
Like
women
you're just as bad as the person
antagonized
you're judging.
Exactly.
If that's the case.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but men don't. No,
shame
I totally.
on you.
Blame it on me. But no, that is very true, and I think that it really depends. Can lovers sprout out from a one night stand? Of course. Can it be hurtful to a relationship? Of course. I mean, it just really all depends on how you guys. It depends on the maturity level, how you guys deal with it, and that's my final word on it.
But through it all,
thing
we should
is-
be friends.
Yeah. I mean, my thing is
Friendship is important.
The only
Friendship is
time
important.
that I have
Yeah.
a problem with someone having sex is if they're doing something that's against who they are. If they're doing something
Right up.
with the hopes of it turning into something,
yeah.
if they're doing something that they wouldn't normally do, if
majority
they're
of people
allowing
have-
themselves to be
a lot of
treated
people
a
do that,
certain
though.
way. Yeah, a
They're
lot of
not
people do
being
that,
true to themselves.
but yeah, those people are not being true to themselves versus there are people that enjoy sex, they know who they are, they don't feel like they're giving up something, they don't feel like they're losing anything. They're just enjoying that part of their life.
But a lot of men use that, and women too as well. I think use the I am looking for a relationship. I'm open to a relationship, giving the person false hope that if they start to carry out the mannerisms of dating and giving up sex, giving up the booty, that it will fall into a relationship. A lot of people go into it with that hope because it was something the person said to make them feel like that was a possibility.
I think people aren't being true to themselves, and I think people need to communicate more what they want, what they like, what they're looking for, what they're trying to do, and it will cut down on a lot of this.
No, that's true, because you'll hear a lot of times
Honesty.
both people, one will be like, yeah, well, I know that, it's cool, we can do whatever and things of that sort, but in their mind, they really got feelings and they want it to go
Right.
to another.
And
but
that's a mistake.
And that
Exactly.
happens often.
That's
Exactly.
a mistake.
And then
That's why
they're
you
trying to play it
communicate.
cool,
Yeah.
but it's kind of like, and I think going back to the friends with benefits things, that's where it kind of gets a little shaky.
But men do the same
It's
thing.
like-
Women aren't the only ones who
Yeah.
wait around hoping
Oh, yeah,
for
men-
something to
oh, of
happen.
course.
There's been
Yeah.
lots of men that I put in the friend category that I know wanted to hit it, and they were okay. We can be friends, waiting for their chance.
Exactly. Just
So-
waiting for someone to slip up and then
think-
come off the bench,
Right,
ready to play,
I think as we learn and we grow and we start to change, I think we should continue to renegotiate and to communicate our changes.
I like the renegotiating.
So if I'm
She got that
with
from,
you and we're just having sex and it's friends with benefits for a while, and then all of a sudden I change and I start loving you and wanting to be with you, I'm just going to tell you.
Now,
And you can let me know how you feel about that or not. And either we're going to continue to just be friends and we're going to fall all the way back, or we're going to move forward. It's going to be one or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you should communicate it. I think the rest is just playing games. Holding out, that's playing games. All
Yeah.
that stuff is just playing a game. It's not being organic and it's not being honest with yourself and with your partner. Period.
So be clear with your intentions.
Period.
Well,
Even
clear
if you're
with
holding
yourself.
out, because even if
Be
you're
clear with
holding out and you
yourself.
know you're gonna have sex with somebody, I'm gonna hold out so I can get him to marry me. That's stupid.
If you know,
I agree. And
It's a
going-
game.
If you're a woman and that you know that you really like somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and that you're not really sure how they feel, and then you're going to have sex with them with the hopes of it then you're not being true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you know, if I have sex with this person, I'm going to catch feelings, then you're not taking care of yourself. So my whole thing is take care of yourself. If you can have sex with somebody and that's all it is and feel good about it, great. If you know yourself, do you know what? As attractive as this dude is, if I lay up in bed with him, it's going to destroy me. Don't do it.
I think that's a lot. I think that's a lot easier said
Who
than
knows
done.
that
yourself.
before they go into the relationship? I mean,
But
or
it's not-
before they even enter into the sex.
after
a lot of
a
people
while,
don't
you know.
that they're going to fall for them. They're just doing it with the pretenses, though I'm about to get my rocks off. or somebody that they've been dying to get a chance with, and then they get that chance, and now they can't really be with that person, and they're disappointed. I mean, people get disappointed.
But I think that's where experience comes into.
Yeah, you went in, but still, if you're disappointed, it's because you went into it with an expectation.
Well, majority of people say don't have expectations, but everybody has expectations.
But
you
I'm
have
saying, but that's
expectations when
on
you take
you.
her out, that she's hopefully gonna let you hit it. You have expectations when he
that's
takes you
still
out.
on
that
you.
you have it.
The problem is when you start dating somebody or befriending them or whatnot, you know, I think it's easy to say, oh yeah, just go out and hang out with them, no expectations, no nothing. But you know, from the moment you get their phone number, there's an expectation that you have in your head, whether it's to be a friend, whether it's to be a lover with them, whether it's to hit that, there's an expectation or motive that you have. So sometimes it's hard just to say, well, just let whatever happen, just go and just let it come to you. No, because you feel a certain type of way about it prior to getting into it.
But see,
I don't know
what
if
you
that's called
just
an
said,
expectation.
You know yourself. So that's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
You know yourself. You know that if you do this or do that, that's going to be a way that you feel. And unfortunately, the only way that we get to know ourselves is by making mistakes.
But a lot of
Right?
people
We make a
don't know
mistake and then
Trial
we
and error.
realize,
Yeah.
okay, I don't want to do that again. Like, I don't want to do that again because I
Yeah.
didn't like the way that I felt, the way that
Exactly.
played itself out. So let me make a different choice next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, which sounds great. Sounds great. I do think it's a little easier said than done because sometimes you can't help or hope when something does start to just develop or roll out in a way with somebody. I mean, I'm not sitting there and saying like right when you meet someone you have a total plan mapped out and things of that sort.
Some people do.
Actually, you're right. Some people have the scroll and everything on there, but you know, I think that sometimes it does just happen organically, or you know,
Yeah.
things of that sort.
But you
develop.
communicate that as you start to change. You
Yeah.
say, hey, you know what? I'm starting to feel something for you. I'm starting to have feelings for you. Like, so what do you think about that? Sometimes you'll be surprised and be like, you know what? I kind of feel the same way.
So,
you know, sometimes you don't.
That's
Sometimes it's
good.
like, I'm not ready right now. Sometimes I don't want to be in a relationship right now. Sometimes I'm not in that place. And then they just have to fall back. Are you cool with that? Just please respect how I feel.
And then someone
Just
might go,
communicating it.
do you know what? I've been living my life a certain way and I, you know, have sex with somebody, but then I don't really like the way that I'm feeling afterwards. Let me change that.
Yeah.
Let me do something different. I'm not my friend over here. My friend is able to go and
Able
do
to
certain
handle it, yeah.
things.
Absolutely.
And they're fine. I'm not. That's like knowing yourself.
That's when you have to learn to
Yeah.
protect yourself as well.
Yeah.
But so to what Phoenix said earlier about communication, whether it's a one-night stand, whether it's a marriage or just a relationship or just a friends with benefit, communication is key,
yeah.
especially
Yeah.
in Let's Talking About Sex, folks. So we're going to wrap up the show with the naked truth.
Man, I'm just getting started. I'm having fun here, man.
We gotta wrap up the show with the naked truth, and so we're gonna ask
that
you a
picture.
series of questions, DB, that you gotta answer, and you've been very honest and very open, so we appreciate that. But we're gonna dig a little bit deeper and personal with you. So our first question for the naked truth is: have you ever ran back into a one-night stand and couldn't remember her name or who it was? Maybe
No, never.
never have that. Now, have you
Never.
ever had a one-night stand?
Only once in my entire life.
One-night stand.
That's
Okay,
it.
share
Did you
with
fall
us.
in love with her?
No.
See how quick that was?
Did you even get her number?
Yeah.
You got her number?
Yeah.
Did you call her?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And what happened after that?
It just did, you know, once we started having a conversation, I think we both quickly realized that we didn't really have much in common, and that was that.
But the sex was good.
It was okay.
Always a waste.
I
It was a
personally think
waste.
sex is better with someone that you care about.
Yeah.
That's how
Absolutely.
I personally feel.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, so, you know, people can have one-night stands. I just don't know many one-night stands that have been phenomenal sex. I just don't. I think it takes you getting to know someone and what they like and spending time with them in order for you to have great sex.
Well, speaking from an emotional standpoint, yeah, of course.
No, I'm speaking from a physical standpoint. I'm not speaking from an emotional standpoint. I think you need time. Like, look, we can go out to the basketball court. I'm not going to start. I haven't played basketball in about a year. Now you give me about an hour warming up and we start talking. I'm going to school you on the court. But
Is that a challenge?
To me, it's the
take
same
it
way
outside.
in the bedroom. You need time with someone
Absolutely.
to discover what she likes, for her to discover what you like, and for you guys to do this beautiful dance back and
So
forth.
now
You need
we're
time.
now we're recanting the one night
Now-
stand talk.
But
Because
what
sex
I was gonna
is
ask,
gonna be good if you don't have
I'm
time.
talking about me.
But I'm saying when you have
But
sex
I'm
with
talking about
somebody,
me.
say
get 'em,
quickly, say if
Phoenix.
you have
No.
sex with somebody the first night or a day or so after you meet them, and you keep in contact with them and you keep having sex with them, that's not considered a bad thing. That's you considering to keep moving forward and to keep getting to know them.
Yeah.
Phoenix, you forever gonna justify this one night stand love thing.
No,
right?
because for me, I'm not justifying one night stands necessarily,
I'm
more
not
so
judging you, by the
than
way.
having sex with somebody soon.
Right.
So one night stands and
Those are
having sex with
different.
somebody
That's
early
different.
is different for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to have a bunch of one night stands. Like I don't have a problem with having sex with somebody early. if I flow with them and it's organic, I have done that, and I still love those people to this day. But one night stands, I'm not with that.
One night stand, he wishes he would. I mean, they didn't vibe physically or mentally.
But I wanted to clarify one night stand versus having sex
Early.
the same day or the next day.
Isn't
That's
that
what I
a-
wanted.
oh.
That's not a one night
So
stand.
a
One night
two-night
stand
stand.
is if you have sex with them and then you never mess with them again.
Yeah.
No, that's
a
wrong.
one night stand to me.
What's your definition of a one night stand,
One night
Kevin?
stand actually is an event that transpires, and the event is you sleeping with somebody that you met at that point in time within maybe a 12-hour period.
But
If
you never mess with them again.
Is
No,
this
no,
an
if you
Urban
mess-
Dictionary? Because
listen,
I'm going to
listen.
look up this
You
definition.
can listen up.
All right, that's a real specific definition of a one. Well, then I have to say I've
Because
never
people
had a one
always
night stand.
no.
I mean,
this is what annoys me. People always confuse it. If you have a one night stand with somebody and you continue talking to them afterwards, that doesn't eliminate the fact that you guys had a one night stand.
Yes, it does if you
Yeah,
continue to do it.
No, because a one night
now
stand
it's
is
not
an
a one
event
night.
that transpires.
So then every single time you have sex with somebody for the first time, it's a one night stand.
see, to
No,
me,
no,
a
no,
one night
no.
stand is someone that you have sex with
One
one
night
time,
and that's it.
No,
yeah, that's what a one-night stand
You can have a
is.
one night stand and still end up like you said. You know, people that were married that had one night stands.
But then it's no longer
not
a one night stand
though.
because you
But
have
they
to
still
understand.
had a one night.
I've met a couple that had a one night stand. 12 years later, they ran back into each other because she hunted him down because she thought he never respected her. She hunted him down on Facebook, found him, ran back into him, like made him fall in love with her, and then they got married.
That's like really far fetched. Way
But I'm
out.
saying that was
I'm
still a
talking
one night
about-
stand.
It was still a
though.
one night
But
stand.
I'm
It's an
talking
event
about,
that
but
takes
yeah,
place.
but they never spoke again for 10, 12
So there has
years.
to be
is
a
what I'm
gap in
trying to
between
say.
it?
A one night stand is when you have sex with somebody one time and you never
Never
speak
see
or
them
get with them
again.
again.
Yeah, that's
Because
exactly
after
a
you
one-night
have sex with
stand.
them again, it's no longer just a one night
It's
stand.
not.
It's
I'm going to
consistent.
UrbanDictionary.com and I'm about to prove both of y'all wrong.
Because if
Next
that's the
time we
case,
will
then
get
everybody
the
has had
definition
a
of
one
one
night
night.
stand.
No. A one night stand is when you sleep with somebody the day you meet them. Why do you think they call it one night stand?
Yeah, it's a day,
I
it's a day,
I
it's a
believe
day
that
you meet them and you
I
don't sleep
believe
with them
that
again.
So basically,
you have
Phoenix, you're
slept
saying-
with them and never messed with them again.
So so
and
we know
left.
each other. If we end up sleeping with each other tomorrow, and then is that considered a one night stand? No, because we've known each other for a significant period of time.
I think if you continue to have sex if we have sex one time, that's a one night
Yeah,
stand.
just sex one time is a one night stand.
But you've known
One
each other.
night.
It doesn't matter how long I've
Doesn't
known you.
matter.
I ain't never had sex with you again. I had sex that one
Okay,
time.
we're gonna
and that's
look up
it.
one
That's
night
a one night
stand.
stand.
I'm looking it up right
We're gonna
now.
talk about one night
'cause I'm about to
stands on
prove you
another
guys
episode.
wrong.
I will just dive right
One
into
night
just
stands
one night stands and what
versus
defines it.
how
but we
fast
gotta,
you do
we
it.
gotta
I'm
ask.
looking at- I'm
we
looking
gotta
it up.
have TV.
All
We
right,
gotta
what's your
wrap
next
up.
question?
Okay, DB, what would you prefer? And this is not for a one night stand. Well, we can even make it applicable to a one night stand.
There you go.
Would you consider yourself an exhibitionist or a voyeur? Which one would you rather do more? Watch another couple having sex, or have a couple or people watching you have sex?
People watching me.
Oh, okay, so you're an exhibitionist. There goes the actor in him, the thespian. Of
Gotta
course,
be the
of
right group
course.
of people, but
And
yeah.
then we ask this signature question every episode of Let's Talk About Sex. After sex, you prefer to cuddle, sleep, or eat with your partner?
Cuddle.
You're a cuddler. Oh, I love
Yeah.
when men say cuddlers. I think it's so cute.
but-
So you
yeah.
you just wrap them up and hug on them?
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's awesome. Even with your one night stand?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not. It's like, yeah, it's part of the. I mean, maybe it's just me, but it's part of the whole
sexual
act.
ritual
Yeah, it's not
experience,
just.
yeah.
Otherwise, why not just hire a prostitute if that's the way you're going to treat a woman?
Have you ever
Yeah,
hired a
that makes
prostitute?
sense. No.
Is this mic on? Okay.
No.
I'm
No.
joking.
No. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna ask him that behind the scenes, folks. No, I'm joking. But thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Let everybody know where they can find you. Check your projects out. Your Twitter, your Instagram, your social media.
Right now, you can catch me on Wednesday nights on USA Network on Suits, and my Twitter is
You have to think about it.
@thereal_DB. Yeah, that's Twitter.
Do you have Instagram?
I do. Instagram is DB4Real, REAL. DB for real.
Okay. So I am your host, guys, Spicy Madi. You can play with my Twitter at spicy_Madi, or you can stroke my Instagram at spicy_Madi. And I will be watching Suits every week from here on out for DB.
You guys can find me on Instagram, instagram.com/PhoenixWhite, or my new website, which is phoenixwhite.net.
By the way, follow her on Instagram. She puts up a lot of good quotes and all right, now I got the definition of one night stand.
Kevin?
A one night stand is an event that takes place when two partners meet each other the day of the event and have a sexual encounter. Boom.
The definition of one night
Now
stand.
you can find me at okay, I made that up.
Kevin, where
I didn't
can
say
they get their one night stand at?
You can follow me. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HeyKevinJohn, or on my website, it's kevinjohn.com.
Thank you, DB, so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Silly.
Let's talk about sex, y'all.
That was fun.
Don't forget.
From producers Maria Menounos, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire BHL crew, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I'm your BHL announcer, Scipio. Instagram me at Planet Scipio. Thank you for tuning in.
Hollywood
Redefined.
Shoddy.
The views expressed here are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.
Thanks for watching Black Hollywood Live on YouTube. For more in-depth interviews and news, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion in the comments